Hello and welcome to this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Are you thinking about taking your first steps into electrical firing? That is to say, rather than running around your garden with a lighter, you want to set your gear off remotely at the press of a button. Well, if so, you will be forgiven for looking on a well-known auction site and wondering if these cheap as chips systems are any good. Well, to help answer that question today, I'm going to be unboxing exactly that. As of September 2021, this is just about the cheapest 12Q firing system I could find on eBay. I'm going to be taking a look at what you get with one of these systems. Importantly, also what you don't get compared to spending a little bit more money. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be better informed about what you're buying and whether it's worth investing a little bit more for a better quality system. Before we get to the unboxing, a quick word about firing systems at this cheaper end of the market. They are usually all based around these 4Q firing system modules. So if you're on eBay and you look at a particular listing, it will ask you if you want 4, 8 or 12 Qs. Effectively what it's asking you is, do you want 1, 2 or 3 of these? I have seen systems for sale with up to 10 or more of these 40 plus Qs. The thing I will say about this approach, although these are modular and you can expand your system as and when you want to in the future, once you get above 12 Qs, you are looking at quite big overheads with batteries. Each one of these requires 4 AA batteries. So if you've got a 40Q system based on one of these, that's an awful lot of batteries to look at. Now, if any of the terms I'm using, like Qs, igniters, modules, and so on, don't mean anything to you at this stage because you really are a complete beginner, have a look in the YouTube description below. I will link you through to an article which will tell you everything you need to know from a beginner's point of view to help get you started. Then you can pop back to this video and it will make more sense. This system then arrived yesterday. It was advertised as a professional 12Q firing system. I can assure you it's not professional. It's 12 Qs because it's effectively got 3 of these 4Q modules, not this exact brand, a cheaper version. Plus it's got a remote control and some other bits and bobs, which we'll see when we unbox it. Price wise, this was just under £50 delivered from a UK seller. That's very, very cheap. You can get even lower prices than that if you buy direct from a Chinese seller and are prepared to wait 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. By comparison, a better system, we'll get to that later in this video, say of 3 DB04Rs plus a good remote control, you're probably looking about £60 to £100 depending on who you buy it from. We'll see why that's a worthwhile investment later on. Okay, so I'm going to just rearrange things slightly so I can get an overhead view to do an unboxing. My overhead camera is now ready, so let's take a look inside the box. This system, by the way, didn't come from a specialised firing system seller, just from a general eBay seller. And this is how it arrived. Obviously, I've taken my name and address off the outside packaging. So you've got a plastic box inside which will be the firing system. There we go. So we've got our 12 Qs by way of 3 4Q modules. Can you spot what's missing already? Now, I don't want to have too much of a rant here, but there's no instructions supplied with this kit. If you buy from a specialist firing system seller, you will get some instructions with it at the very least. There's nothing here to tell you what to do. If you're a member of the public and it's your first time out with the system and you bought it simply off eBay, not knowing how these systems work, I think that could be a few potential problems here, especially as the igniters supplied with this are these. They are electrical igniters. These are professional igniters. They are explosives, so they are an explosive head which will go off. Usually with consumer systems you will get a different type of igniter called a talon. This is a clip-on igniter. This clips over the safety fuse on your firework and a coil inside heats up to set the fuse on fire. There is still some debate in our forum about whether E-matches or talons are the best to ignite fireworks with in general, but I personally think, this is just my own opinion, for people starting out who have never used a firing system before, talon igniters, because they don't have an explosive compound in them, I think are at least the safest way to start out. There are no batteries supplied with these systems, which is good because that will enable you to go out and get your own Duracell or Energizer batteries, that's to say better quality batteries. There is a battery for the remote control labelled Pound Max. The instructions on the back are in German. I think this is simply cut off a packet of many of these, so again I'll probably bin that and get a Duracell battery. We have a remote control in this bag. One thing I will point out, compared to a more expensive system, is this remote control on the cheaper system doesn't have an on-off switch, whereas the better remote controls, you have got an off switch on the side. This is quite an important safety consideration, because on the cheaper system, once you put your battery in, these buttons are all live. So if you power your system up and there's a firework connected and you accidentally press a button, you will set the firework off. So in addition to buying the system itself, you will need to buy some AA batteries, 4 batteries per firing system module. I've already got batteries in one of these ready to show you what it's like when it's powered up. I said at the start of this video I would compare this to a more expensive system so you can see where your money's going. So let's do that now. I'm going to introduce this system to you. It's a DB04R by the Luyang Happiness Firing Company or something along those lines. As you can see, externally the systems look very similar, so it's completely understandable if you're a beginner that you might think that a system costing a third of the price of another one is just someone selling them cheaper and you're getting a better deal. But there are important differences, so let's start looking at some of those now. Okay, so the firing system then, the cheaper one on the left, I'm going to power up. I'm also going to power up my DB04R. You will notice that, let me just move that light so it's not reflecting so much. You will notice that the cheaper system, when it's powered up, 4 red LEDs come on. This is another reason why I'm a bit annoyed there's no instructions, because red LEDs usually mean something wrong. In this particular case, it's just an indicator whether anything's connected or not. It turns out on the cheaper system that if nothing's connected, the red light is dull. If something is connected and it's good to go, it lights up brighter. On the DB04R, however, there are no lights on unless you connect something up. So let me just demonstrate that now with a igniter. So if I connect an igniter here, and again check out my links below if you need some advice on how to actually use these systems. I won't focus too much on the user manual side of things now. So we've connected up an igniter here, which is a sound igniter. It's ready to go. So the system is glowing brighter red to show you that this is connected and ready to go. If we connect that by comparison to the DB04R, you'll see that you'll only get a light on if something is connected, and if you've got continuity and the igniter is good to go, you will get a green light. Okay, let me disconnect those. The next thing to point out with the cheaper system, and I think this is one of the more important differentiators when it comes to price, is this. The cheaper system only has one programming button and it's there. On the back there are no other recessed buttons. The DB04R on the back actually has 4 recessed buttons, which you can see there. What does this mean in terms of programming functions? Well, to put it bluntly, as far as I can tell with my testing, and feel free to let me know in the comments if you found another way of doing this, the cheaper system on the left, you can only pair this up with buttons on a remote control. So let me do that now. I'll put some buttons in, put some batteries in my remote control. Let's put the cheaper system into programming mode. So you put that in, hold it down until the light's flashing. You would now press a button on your 12-button remote control. That will assign the first cue on your system to that button, and then the next 3 in a sequence from there. So if I press 5, I've now assigned these 4 cues to buttons 5, 6, 7 and 8. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 don't do anything, but 5, 6, 7 and 8 will fire these 4 cues in a sequence. The idea behind this is that when you've got more than one module, which you have in this system, you've got 3 sets of 4, you assign one of them to button 1, one to button 5 and one to button 9, so you've got a complete sequence of cues from 1 to 12. And in actual fact, on this system, each module has numbers corresponding to buttons on the remote control, and this is how it comes configured when you get it. With the DB04R, the ability to assign individual cues to specific buttons on the remote control using these programming buttons does come in very useful once you start firing slightly more complex displays. To give you a practical example, you may want to ignite all of the cues on one of these systems at the same time. Let's say you've got a big finale of 4 fireworks and they're spread around your firing site, so you want to do them from individual cues. There's no way I can see of doing a fire all from one button on the cheaper system, but on the DB04R what you would do is program and map each of these cues to one button on the remote to make it a fire all system. That's pretty much it from me for this video. I hope you found it useful. At the very least, you now know that whilst these firing systems look the same in their photographs, they do have different features. The more expensive ones, and I don't think it's that much of a jump in price personally, do have useful programming features that will come in very useful if you continue down the road of electrical firing. However, whichever system you buy, at least now you're informed about what you're getting or lacking. If you have any questions at all about any of these systems, please let me know. My advice is completely free. You can ask me in the YouTube comments or pop over to my fireworks forum, join there, completely free to join, and myself and also many other users of these systems are on hand to help guide you through how to use them. And as I said earlier, have a look at the links in my YouTube description. I also have a website called UKFR. This has grown over 20 years to contain huge numbers of free to read and free to access guides on pretty much every aspect of consumer fireworks. There are some crash courses in electrical firing to tell you what all the different terms mean to get you started. Also, I do have reviews of various firing systems you can read as well, and have a look through my other YouTube videos, because amongst other things I stress test one of these systems to see if I can get it to fall over, and you can see the results of that. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you in the next video.